Good Thursday morning, foggers. Glad to see the weather's back to normal here in Miami, kind of, sort of. Anyway, today's one of those days where I'm like, I woke up and I prayed and I was like, man, what am I gonna tell these people today? And so I'm gonna go over some things that happened yesterday after I did the video, and some of it is informative. Some of it might be for some of you, some of it might not be for all of you, but just some key things that I think that are important that stick out. Number one, this whole movement, and I told you from the beginning, 3 a.m. Fog is a movement. It's never been and will never be about me. It's about us. It's about you and us together, right? And the we factor. And so yesterday I had meetings with certain people. One of them was very important for us. And I can't let the cat out of the bag yet, only because to protect it and to pray on it and to make sure that I can only tell you that this is getting a lot of attention. We are getting a lot of attention, and there's movement in heaven and earth to try to help us, right? We're sick and tired of being the statistics. Like I said, yes, there are some feel-good stories of police out there, officers, thank God, that are recovering from injuries, officers that save children in distressful moments and save people, heroic acts, which we know now happen every day, and we don't even realize it or act like it's a big deal. But we have a lot of heroes out there that are wearing the uniform, both in fire and police and military, right? We're tired of being the statistic, right? We're tired of, and talking to my wife yesterday, I was like, you don't have to be the raging alcoholic, right? You don't have to be a drug addict. But statistically speaking, right? Divorce rates, not being the mother or the father that we want to be. And it's not that you're a bad person, but you're out on the road and trying to make money. Like we talked about in videos before, we're chasing the buck. Sometimes we look so much at making money as the cure-all, when really, your spouse and your girlfriend and your boyfriend and your children especially, what they want is time, a few minutes of time with you. We talked about how important time was for me in the process of healing, right? That somebody thought I was important enough. And they didn't do it with the intentions of, hey, I'm going to be important in this person's life, but yet they were. Just time. Go to take little Johnny, little Debbie to the park. That means the world to them, okay? You're their hero, and that was important. So what I wanted to tell you is, a lot of people are talking, and again, not just because of 3 a.m. Fog, but because we're realizing that there's so much going on in this profession or professions that the right thing is to help, right? To not wait till we have to fold the flag or drive in that procession. Some of our people are getting killed every day. They're dying a little bit more and more. And again, it doesn't have to be with addiction, but with anger and with not wanting to be home, right? That leads me to another thing yesterday where speaking to somebody who we talked about generational issues, right? Curses, if you will. Learned behaviors from mothers and fathers. For me, it was from my mother because of the death of my brother, the constant attempted suicides and the drinking of the pills. And we know in our profession that the people that are going to commit suicide, you usually just get that call and you respond. It's never the cry for help, right? So all these actions that were dysfunctional of drinking pills and overdosing and stuff, those were cries for help, because it really wasn't attempted suicide at that point. But the learned behavior of drinking, right? We've talked about people that beat their spouses, both male and female. This is not just a male thing. That those are learned behaviors that they saw their parents do. And again, generational stuff. And my message to you is that, we have shame in our heart because we're doing some of those things, right? And if you're doing them, you should stop. You need to stop because it's not right. You shouldn't be putting your hands on anybody. And this isn't I'm your daddy. This isn't some guy just coming into your business. We're trying to get better here at 3M Fog, be better people, right? Be better parents, and we want to survive. So part of that is being better, and you need to want to be a better person. Not that you're a bad person, but we're talking about, addictions and mental health and things that are prominent in our professions, right? So not to get off track, but, talking to this individual who's a great person. He mentors a lot of people in his life and he doesn't even know it. And I know he has a lot of hurt in his heart, and it's all because of alcohol and stuff. And so that brought back to the whole generational thing that, you have the power to break that generational curse. That's a tremendous power that you have that you don't realize, right? If you reach out for help, you talk to people, you can break that curse, because if not, you're going to continue to pass that along. And that was a big thing with me. I didn't want to, remember what I told you guys, I wanted to be better for him, for my son, than they were for me, right? And so that led me to another thing. I was talking to a female officer who's going through, she's a good friend, I talk to her all the time, who's going through relationship issues, right? Through a divorce and a separation. And we always talked about, she has a background with her mom. We have mommy issues, right? A lot of the girls have daddy issues. I had mommy issues, and so does she. And it's a constant, working around the clock to try to provide and try to be that good girl for mommy, right? So mommy could be proud. And the bottom line is, mom was not in her life. She was adopted by her grandparents. And in my case, I was always trying to, my dad worked for the CIA, was never home. And my mom was constantly crying out for help because of the death of my brother. And I was the one that was there. All my siblings, I'm the last of 7. All my siblings had married out. And they all ended up getting divorced because, with the exception of one, but they all got divorced because they married to get out of the house, because they wanted to get out of that dysfunction. And I was the youngest one, and I stayed there, and I had to endure a lot of that stuff by myself. But that gets me to, why did I serve? Why did I have a calling to serve? And I'm always, serving my spouse and all kinds of stuff, is because I learned that behavior from my mom. And there was no reason for a small child to be serving his mother like that, because she was in an incoherent state because of her demons. So, and that's it's a big story, it's a big book, but what I'm trying to say is we harness the power to break a cycle, right? A cycle of, it could be violence, okay? It could be addictions, alcohol, it could be pills, it could be pornography, and that's a whole other gamut there that I'm not going to get into today, but it could be many different things. So you have the power, but you have to have the desire, the want. And what we're doing at 3M Fog is discussing these things and bringing them to light. They're not going to stay in the closet anymore. We're not going to go anywhere. We're going to bring this out, okay? And we're forcing leaders in the community to have to see these things and deal with them. You want a better employee? You want, an officer to get out of the car and help the community? Okay, well, you got to help us. And you help us, you'll get a better employee, okay? This is not blackmail or extortion. This is just a fact. A more balanced, harmonious person is going to be a better servant, okay? And we have to address these things. And these major departments that don't want to assist and take part, okay? And you can read between the lines, and I'm not calling anybody out, but I am calling you out. You're going to have to play ball. This facade and this smoke and mirrors that we've had for years is going to stop. And there's great people in those positions, but they don't want to open. I was told years ago by a so-called leader not to open Pandora's box. Well, let me tell you, it's not Pandora's box. It's a bucket of shit, okay? Let's just call it what it is. It's a huge bucket of shit, and you're going to have to deal with it, okay? It's been smelling and been in the closet for a long time, and we're going to have to deal with it, and we're not going anywhere. And guess what? I'm retired. Nobody controls what I say or what I do, and I'm here for our people, for myself, and for us. And guess what? You're going to have to deal with it. And when the media grabs a hold of 3M Fog and they ask us what we want change. That's what we want. We want change. We want people to see who we are, see what we go through, okay? And have a kind, tender heart for who we are before we get killed, okay? And before you give a flag to our people. That's what this is about, okay? And something, and I'll let you guys in on another secret. My wife is a licensed therapist. So the mind games in this house are out of control. And she told me something yesterday that was extremely, extremely powerful, right? We're talking about things that people tell you that are powerful. Because I always tell you, I'm such a broken man, right? I'm broken and put together, but I'm kind of like that figurine that you can see the glue marks and all the cracks. I'm a super broken man. I'm very blessed where I'm at, and I'm grateful. And that brokenness has made me a better man, I believe. But she told me something. She goes, remember that broken crayons still write, right? They still color, they still work. And I, it was powerful when she told me, but as I went thinking through the night, I was like, holy shit, bro, that may not seem it, but it's very powerful. So, my message to you guys is very brief, or hope is brief, but is we're not going anywhere, and we're tired of being these statistics that have to be great people after the public sees, tragedy from us. We've had tragedy for a long time, right? We talk about the fast bullet and the slow bullet, addiction, anger, adultery, and that's another thing we're gonna hit on, the adultery that goes on in our thought. It's not about you being a stud or you being a whore, or no, it has nothing to do with that. It's trying to fill that void with unhealthy stuff. I'm not talking about two people who found each other that are in love. That's a whole other conversation. We're gonna get into that. And again, I'm not being the guy telling you how you have to live your life. I'm only telling you that addictions, there's a full gamut of them, okay? And we're gonna discuss that with a therapist because it's a big deal. So again, we have a lot of power on our side. We're a huge force. We have to be united, right? The topic yesterday in a meeting that I went to was a united front. United, we can't be destroyed. We're tired of all the stuff that's been said about us and when we're popular and when we're not. And we're going to take the reins. We're taking the bull by the horns, okay? And that's what we're going to do. And this message has turned into something that it wasn't going to be. But you have the power to stop those generational curses and those addictions and those demons. You have that power. You just have to say, I want to do it. And there's help. There's help. But you have to say, I want to, because nobody else can say that for you. So that's the message today, okay? It's Thursday. It's almost a weekend. You're almost there. You're loved. You're respected. There's a lot of help coming for you guys. And we're pressing that beep tone, right? The lights and the sirens are coming, all right? When you're in a fight and you hear that, there's no better sound than that. We all know that, right? So here at 3M Club, we love you. We respect you. We're grateful for you. And remember that if you don't like this message, you got to ask yourself why, right? A lot of times when you're confronted with things and you don't want to hear it, look in the mirror and ask yourself, man, why did that bother me? There's probably something there, okay? And again, we come here with no judgment. This is just to get better and heal on all aspects of our life, okay? Remember, I don't know some of you, but I know all of you, okay? So we love you here. Have a great Thursday. Stay safe, hydrate, take the garbage out, and we'll talk soon. All right? Thank you, guys.